Motorsports enthusiasts received disappointing news last week. The popular Viewfort base, also known as the Kakabef, is set to be fenced off. The area has been designated for a Rubis fuel depot, intended to service the nearby Hiranura International Airport. During Monday's pre-cabinet press conference, the sports minister stated that he had only recently learned about this development. He also mentioned that a lease between the fuel company and the St. Lucia and Seaports Authority was signed during the previous Alan Chasney-led administration.
We discovered quite recently that the lease was signed in the year 2017. As you would know, I was not the Minister of Government, as a matter of fact. During that time, I was working with you, the media. And we discovered that quite recently there were some speculations. We are currently, as a government, the AG Chambers currently has requested the full details for that lease. Of course, it was signed with SLASPA, and so we will find some more information from SLASPA in the coming week on what actually happened, why that lease was signed by the previous administration.
The sports minister has categorically denied any previous knowledge of the lease.
Until the notice was officially put in terms of the lease, we are actually still getting information. I, as minister, we've certainly not seen the details from that lease. And so I could tell you, as a minister, I would have said in the last 2 weeks, there was conversation about it, because a lot of the times we were already having discussions about where we can actually have something proper for the car racers. And I've heard somewhere in the media people have said that we knew, well, I knew for a very long time. That is not true. I would say less than a month we've been trying to get the final information in terms of when the lease was signed.
Under the former UWP administration, there was a proposal to develop an official facility for drag racing in Dennery South. In 2022, under Casimir, a tour was facilitated to continue the search for a new site.
As a Minister of Sport, almost immediately upon given that responsibility, we endeavored to speak to the car racing fraternity on a proper venue. And I say proper because the Kakabef, whereas we have the emotional attachment to it, we really desire to have a proper facility equipped with proper stands for the viewing public, proper washroom facilities, proper change room for the actual racers, and it would require a vast amount of space, whereas the Kakabef just gives you the opportunity to just have the racing aspect. And so we did have a number of meetings, I can say, for the last couple of years. We've narrowed it down to 2 areas, which is the cul-de-sac area and an area that was in discussion previously in Dennery. Both areas have a tremendous cost in terms of proper drainage to allow for functioning activity to actually happen there, because we live in the tropics. And so the decision, we were gravitating in consultation with the racing fraternity to cul-de-sac. Once we started having discussion on cul-de-sac, we realized as a government that again, we were moving activities from the south of the island. And so we met with Crown Land and other stakeholders to see, where it is in Viewfort so we can actually put the racing track. We identified a place which was close to the airport, and the advice given by SLASPA was that it was in a buffer zone in case of emergencies. And so people have asked why we've taken this amount of time, but the fact of the matter is we really wanted to keep car racing in the south, and we are at a point where we really have to bite the bullet and decide to bring it up north, more than likely in the area of cul-de-sac. It's going to cost us a pretty penny. We have the designs, we have the drawings, and we're going to continue that discussion. We're going to eventually find and have that venue for car racers in St. Lucia.
The recent announcement regarding plans for the area has sparked the creation of a petition. A national drag racing competition is scheduled to take place at the base later this month. Additionally, a regional competition is planned for February. The petition is calling for any construction on the site to be postponed until February, at which time it is hoped that construction on a new facility for motorsports can begin. At the time of filing this report, the petition, which was initiated on December 1st, had already garnered over 1,200 signatures. The Sports Minister revealed that the lease contract is currently under review by the Attorney General with the intention of safeguarding the area for the alternative sports sector.
They are reviewing the documents, reviewing the details of the lease, and exploring whether or not this government could find some clause to retract that lease or defer that lease until we actually find a suitable location for car racing. Once we look at every single clause and we know legally we're not going to be putting the taxpayers of St. Lucia under any strain, I think we will make that decision. Again, that is a legal decision. The AG chambers will advise on, they will opine on. And once I have that information, if it means that we can retract that lease, I would happily do that on behalf of the car racers of St. Lucia.
The Vieux-Fort Bay serves not only as a popular venue for motorsports, but also for horse racing, driving lessons, and exercise for residents in the southern region. For the DBS News World, I am Zane Romulus.